Welcome to your review of minerals in sports and performance nutrition.
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? How these tiny nutrients can really make or break an athlete's performance.
Absolutely, it's true. You don't always think about minerals when you're thinking about sports nutrition, but they're absolutely crucial.
They really are like the unsung heroes, quietly working, behind the scenes to support everything from muscle function and energy production to recovery.
Okay, so for someone who, knows a little bit about nutrition but wants to kind of understand the role of minerals better in sports performance, where do we even begin?
Well, I think first we got to define what minerals are. They're inorganic elements, so that means they don't contain carbon like proteins or fats do. And the key takeaway here is that they're absolutely essential for human survival, especially for athletes who are demanding more from their body.
So they're like the building blocks for a high-performing athlete's body.
Exactly. And we can break them down into two categories: major minerals and trace minerals. Major minerals are needed in larger amounts, so think things like calcium for bone health, sodium for hydration, and potassium for muscle function.
Okay?
Trace minerals, as you might guess, are needed in smaller amounts,
Right.
but they're no less important.
Okay.
Iron for oxygen transport is a great example.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's dive into some specific minerals and how they actually impact athletic performance. Starting with calcium. I know it's, crucial for bone health, but how does that translate to better performance on the field or in the gym?
Think of calcium as the foundation of your skeletal system. It's the framework that supports your muscles and allows you to move. So if you're a runner, strong bones are absolutely essential for absorbing the impact of each stride. If you're a weightlifter, calcium helps ensure that your bones can handle the stress of heavy lifting. And for any athlete, calcium is crucial for preventing stress fractures, which can, sideline you for weeks or even months.
So getting enough calcium is like investing in your body's infrastructure, making it more resilient to the demands of training and competition.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really interesting for athletes. Calcium also plays a crucial role in muscle contractions. So every time you move, calcium ions are flowing in and out of your muscle cells, helping them to contract and relax.
Wow.
Without enough calcium, your muscles simply can't function optimally.
Well, calcium deficiency could mean weaker contractions, lower reaction times, and ultimately poorer performance.
Exactly. And that's why athletes, especially those in high-impact sports, need to pay close attention to their calcium intake. It's not just about, preventing osteoporosis later in life. It's about maximizing performance right now.
So how much calcium should athletes be aiming for, and what are the best sources?
The RDA for adults is around 1,000 milligrams, but athletes may need more depending on their training, volume, and intensity. Dairy products like milk, yogurt, and cheese are excellent sources, as are leafy green vegetables like kale and spinach.
Okay, so a smoothie with Greek yogurt and spinach could be a great post-workout snack for a calcium boost.
Absolutely. And if you're struggling to get enough calcium through diet alone, a supplement might be worth considering.
Yep.
But as always, it's best to talk to a qualified professional like a sports dietitian to get personalized advice.
Makes sense. Now, we've talked about calcium's importance for bone health, but it doesn't work alone, right? What about phosphorus?
You're right. Phosphorus is calcium's partner in crime when it comes to building and maintaining strong bones. Imagine them as two sides of the same coin working together to create that solid foundation we talked about earlier. But phosphorus is also involved in a whole range of other processes that are essential for athletic performance.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, for starters, phosphorus is a key component of ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which is the primary energy currency of our cells.
Right.
Every time you move, your muscles are breaking down ATP to release energy. Without enough phosphorus, your energy production could be compromised.
So if I'm feeling sluggish during my workouts, could low phosphorus be a culprit?
It's definitely possible, especially if you're not paying attention to your diet. And here's another interesting fact. Phosphorus is involved in pH regulation, helping to maintain the optimal acid-base balance in your body. So when you exercise intensely, your muscles produce lactic acid, which can lead to that burning sensation you feel during a tough workout.
Oh, yeah.
Phosphorus helps buffer that acid buildup, allowing you to push harder and longer.
Wow, so phosphorus is not just about strong bones, it's about energy and endurance, too.
Exactly. And luckily, phosphorus is pretty abundant in the food supply. Meat, poultry, fish, dairy products, nuts, and beans are all good sources.
So unless you're following a very restrictive diet, you're probably getting enough phosphorus. But what about magnesium? I've heard it's important for muscle recovery and preventing cramps.
You're right. Magnesium is a superstar when it comes to muscle function and recovery. Think of it as the mineral that helps your muscles relax and recharge after a tough workout. It's involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body,
Wow.
many of which are related to muscle function, energy production, and protein synthesis.
Okay, so it's like the ultimate support system for hardworking muscles.
Exactly. And here's why it's so crucial for athletes. Magnesium helps regulate muscle contractions and plays a role in transporting electrolytes like calcium and potassium in and out of cells. This is essential for maintaining proper muscle function and preventing those painful muscle cramps that can sideline an athlete.
So if I'm prone to muscle cramps, especially during or after intense exercise, could low magnesium be the culprit?
It's definitely a possibility. Athletes are particularly susceptible to magnesium deficiency because they lose magnesium through sweat. And if you're not replenishing those lost electrolytes through your diet, you could be setting yourself up for muscle cramps and fatigue.
So what are the best ways to ensure adequate magnesium intake? Are there any specific foods that are particularly high in magnesium?
Leafy green vegetables like spinach and kale are excellent sources, as are almonds, avocado, black beans, and dark chocolate.
Oh.
And a fun fact, hard water is actually a good source of magnesium.
So a post-workout snack of dark chocolate and almonds could be a delicious way to replenish magnesium and satisfy those chocolate cravings.
Exactly. And if you're still experiencing muscle cramps despite a magnesium-rich diet, a supplement might be worth considering. But as always, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian before starting any new supplement regimen.
Okay, so far we've covered three minerals that are, essential for building a strong foundation: calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the minerals that are involved in hydration and electrolyte balance, which are, crucial for athletes, especially those who train in hot conditions or for long durations?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with sodium, a mineral that often gets a bad nap.
It's true. Sodium has kind of become the villain of the nutrition world, but the reality is that it's an essential mineral that plays a crucial role in athletic performance. It's the primary electrolyte lost in sweat,
Right.
and it's involved in regulating fluid balance, nerve transmission, and muscle contractions.
So despite its bad reputation, sodium is actually a key player for athletes.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. When you sweat, you lose not only water, but also electrolytes, primarily sodium. This can lead to dehydration, which can impair performance, increase the risk of heat illness, and even be life-threatening in extreme cases. Athletes, especially those who train in hot environments or for long durations, need to be particularly mindful of their sodium intake to replenish what they lose through sweat.
So the old adage of avoiding salt at all costs might not be the best advice for athletes.
Exactly. In fact, for athletes who sweat heavily, restricting sodium intake can actually be detrimental to their performance and health.
Okay, so how much sodium do athletes need? And what are the best ways to replenish sodium lost through sweat?
The AI for sodium is 1,500 milligrams, but athletes may need more, depending on their sweat rate and the duration and intensity of their training.
Okay.
Sports drinks are a convenient way to replenish sodium and other electrolytes during or after a workout. But you can also get sodium through food. Salty snacks like pretzels, crackers, and pickles can be helpful, as can adding a pinch of salt to your meals.
So it's all about finding what works best for you and your individual needs. Now, what about chloride, sodium's partner in crime when it comes to fluid balance?
Chloride often gets overlooked, but it's just as important as sodium for maintaining hydration and electrolyte balance. It's the other major electrolyte lost in sweat. And it works in conjunction with sodium to regulate fluid movement in and out of cells. Chloride also plays a role in nerve transmission and muscle function. And here's an interesting fact. Chloride is a key component of hydrochloric acid,
Ooh.
which is produced in the stomach and is essential for digestion.
So chloride helps us break down our food and absorb those essential nutrients we've been talking about.
Exactly. And like sodium chloride is abundant in the food supply, table salt is sodium chloride. So if you're getting enough sodium, you're likely getting enough chloride as well.
Okay.
Other sources of chloride include seaweed, olives, and rye bread.
So a turkey sandwich on rye bread with a side of pickles could be a great post-workout meal for replenishing sodium and chloride.
Absolutely. And if you're an athlete who sweats heavily, you might want to pay extra attention to your chloride intake, especially during periods of intense training or competition in hot environments.
Now, we've talked about sodium and chloride, two minerals that work together to regulate fluid balance. But there's another key electrolyte that's crucial for athletes: potassium.
Potassium is often referred to as sodium's counterpart because it helps balance out the effects of sodium and maintain fluid balance within cells. But potassium also plays a vital role in its own right, especially when it comes to muscle function. It's involved in nerve transmission and muscle contractions,
Hmm.
and it helps prevent those dreaded muscle cramps that can derail an athlete's performance.
So potassium is like the peacemaker between sodium and our muscles, ensuring everything runs smoothly.
Exactly. And here's another important point. Potassium helps regulate blood pressure, which is especially crucial for athletes who put a lot of stress on their cardiovascular system.
Right.
Studies have shown that increasing potassium intake can help lower blood pressure, which can reduce the risk of heart disease and stroke.
So potassium is a win-win for both performance and overall health. What are some good sources of potassium for athletes?
Fruits and vegetables are packed with potassium. Bananas are a classic choice. But you can also find high levels of potassium in sweet potatoes, watermelon, beets, black beans, and edamame.
So a post-workout smoothie with banana, spinach, and almond milk could be a great way to replenish potassium and other electrolytes.
Absolutely. And for athletes who struggle to get enough potassium through diet alone, a supplement might be an option.
Right.
But as always, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian before starting any new supplements.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the importance of calcium for strong bones to the role of potassium in muscle function and fluid balance. It's amazing how these tiny minerals can have such a profound impact on athletic performance. But before we move on to some of the lesser-known trace minerals, I'm curious, is there anything else about these major minerals that athletes should keep in mind?
That's a great question. I think the key takeaway here is that mineral needs can vary greatly from athlete to athlete.
Okay.
Factors like training volume and intensity, sweat rate, diet, and even genetics can all play a role.
Wow.
So what works for one athlete might not work for another. The best approach is to pay attention to your body,
Yeah.
experiment with different foods and supplements,
Yeah.
and work with a qualified professional to create a personalized nutrition plan that meets your individual needs.
That's great advice. It's all about listening to your body and finding what works best for you. Now, I'm excited to dive into the world of trace minerals. These often get overlooked, but they play some pretty amazing roles in the body, right?
Absolutely. Trace minerals might be needed in smaller amounts, but they're just as important as major minerals for supporting optimal health and athletic performance. And some of them, like iron, are particularly crucial for athletes.
All right, let's talk about iron. I know it's essential for oxygen transport, but how does that specifically impact athletic performance?
Iron is a key component of hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen from the lungs to the muscles. Without enough iron, your muscles simply can't get the oxygen they need to function properly, leading to fatigue, weakness, and decreased endurance.
So it's like iron is the fuel that keeps our muscles running.
Exactly. And that's why iron deficiency is a major concern for athletes, especially female athletes who lose iron through menstruation. If you're constantly feeling tired, out of breath, or struggling to recover from workouts, low iron could be a culprit.
So what are the best ways to ensure adequate iron intake? Are there any specific foods that are particularly high in iron?
Red meat is an excellent source of heme iron, which is more easily absorbed by the body.
Okay.
Other good sources include poultry, fish, beans, lentils, and fortified cereals. And here's a tip. Pairing iron-rich foods with vitamin C-rich foods like citrus fruits or bell peppers can enhance iron absorption.
So a steak with a side of roasted peppers could be a great way to boost iron levels.
Absolutely. And you're an athlete who's concerned about iron deficiency, talk to your doctor about getting your iron levels checked. Iron supplements are often recommended for athletes who are deficient, but it's important to take them under the guidance of a healthcare professional.
Okay, so iron is a must-have mineral for athletes, especially those focused on endurance. But what about zinc? I know it's important for immune function, but does it play a role in athletic performance as well?
You're right. Zinc is best known for its role in immune health, helping to protect against infections and supporting wound healing, both of which are essential for athletes who are constantly pushing their bodies and risking injury. But zinc is also involved in a number of other processes that are crucial for athletic performance, including protein synthesis, muscle growth and repair, and hormone regulation.
So zinc is like the ultimate multitasker, supporting both our immune system and our muscles.
Exactly. And here's why it's so important for athletes. When you train hard, your body undergoes a lot of stress, which can suppress the immune system and make you more susceptible to illness. Zinc helps counter that stress response and keeps your immune system functioning optimally. It also plays a crucial role in muscle recovery and growth, helping repair damaged tissues and build new muscle fibers.
So zinc is like a superhero, protecting our bodies from both internal and external threats.
Exactly. And luckily, zinc is found in a variety of foods, including oysters, red meat, poultry, beans, nuts, and whole grains. So a balanced diet should provide adequate zinc for MOVE athletes. However, if you're concerned about your zinc intake or experiencing symptoms of deficiency like frequent colds or slow wound healing, talk to your doctor about getting your levels checked.
Makes sense. Now, I've heard that chromium can help with blood sugar regulation, which is important for athletes who need to maintain stable energy levels during training and competition. Is that true?
You're right. Chromium is a trace mineral that plays a crucial role in glucose metabolism. It enhances the action of insulin, the hormone that helps regulate blood sugar levels. By improving insulin sensitivity, chromium helps your body use glucose more efficiently for energy, preventing those energy crashes that can happen when blood sugar levels fluctuate wildly.
So for athletes who rely on carbohydrates for fuel, chromium could be a game changer.
Absolutely. And here's how it works. When you eat carbohydrates, your blood sugar levels rise. Insulin is then released to help transport glucose from the bloodstream into the cells where it's used for energy. Chromium helps improve the efficiency of this process, ensuring that your muscles get the fuel they need when they need it.
So it's like chromium is the traffic cop, directing glucose to where it's needed most.
That's a great analogy. And while chromium deficiency is rare, it can lead to impaired glucose tolerance and insulin resistance, which can increase the risk of type 2 diabetes. For athletes, chromium deficiency can manifest as fatigue, decreased performance, and difficulty recovering from workouts.
So what are the best ways to get enough chromium? Are there any specific foods that are particularly high in chromium?
Good sources of chromium include broccoli, whole grains, brewer's yeast, and beef. And a fun fact, cooking in stainless steel pots and pans can actually increase the chromium content of your food.
So it's not just about what you eat, but how you prepare it.
Exactly. And for athletes who are struggling with blood sugar regulation or looking for an extra edge in terms of energy and performance, chromium supplements might be worth considering. But as always, talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements.
Okay. So far we've covered iron for oxygen transport, zinc for immunity and recovery, and chromium for blood sugar regulation. Are there any other trace minerals that are particularly important for athletes?
Absolutely. There are a few more we need to discuss, including fluoride, copper, manganese, iodine, molybdenum, and selenium. These might not be well known as iron, zinc, or chromium, but they play essential roles in a variety of bodily functions that are crucial for athletic performance and overall health.
All right, I'm ready to delve into the world of these lesser-known trace minerals. Let's start with fluoride. I know it's important for dental health, but does it have any relevance for athletes?
You're right. Fluoride is best known for its role in preventing cavities, but it also plays a role in strengthening bones and teeth, which is crucial for athletes who are constantly putting stress on their skeletal system. Fluoride helps increase bone density, making them more resistant to fractures.
Okay.
And for athletes in contact sports or activities with a high risk of falls like skiing or snowboarding, strong bones can mean the difference between a minor injury and a season-ending break.
So fluoride is like a secret weapon for protecting our bones from the wear and tear of intense training.
Exactly. And while most people get enough fluoride through fluoridated water and toothpaste, athletes who have increased needs due to high training volume or a history of stress fractures might want to talk to their doctor about whether a fluoride supplement is appropriate.
Okay, so fluoride definitely more than just a bright smile. It's about building a resilient foundation for athletic performance. Now, what about copper? What role does this trace mineral play in the body?
Copper is a fascinating mineral that's involved in a wide range of bodily processes, including iron metabolism, energy production, collagen formation, and antioxidant defense. It's a key component of several enzymes that are essential for these functions. And for athletes, copper is particularly important for maintaining healthy connective tissues like tendons and ligaments, which are constantly being stressed and strained during training.
So copper helps keep our joints and muscles working smoothly.
Exactly. Copper deficiency is rare, but it can lead to fatigue, weakness, anemia, and even bone abnormalities. Athletes who follow a restrictive diet or have a history of gastrointestinal issues might be at an increased risk of deficiency.
What are some good sources of copper?
Good sources of copper include shellfish, organ meats like liver, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Chocolate is also surprisingly high in copper, so a little bit of dark chocolate can be a delicious way to boost your intake.
Okay, so a trail mix with nuts, seeds, and dark chocolate could be a a great pre-workout snack for a copper boost.
Absolutely. And if you're concerned about your copper intake, talk to your doctor about getting your levels checked. Copper supplements are available, but it's important to take them under the guidance of a healthcare professional.
Makes sense. Now let's talk about manganese, another trace mineral that I admit I don't know much about. What role does it play in the body, and how does that translate to athletic performance?
Manganese is a trace mineral that's often overlooked, but it plays a crucial role in a number of bodily processes that are essential for athletes, including bone formation, wound healing, carbohydrate metabolism, and antioxidant defense. It's a cofactor for several enzymes that are involved in these functions. And for athletes, manganese is particularly important for supporting bone health, recovering from injuries, and protecting against oxidative stress caused by intense exercise.
So manganese is like a silent guardian, supporting our bones, our recovery, and our overall health.
Exactly. Manganese deficiency is rare, but it can lead to impaired bone growth, delayed wound healing, and an increased risk of oxidative stress. Athletes who follow a restricted diet or have a history of gastrointestinal issues might be at a higher risk of deficiency. Red sources of manganese include nuts, seeds, whole grains, leafy green vegetables, and tea.
So a salad with spinach, walnuts, and a sprinkle of sunflower seeds could be a great way to get a manganese boost.
Absolutely. And if you're concerned about your manganese intake, talk to your doctor about getting your levels checked. Manganese supplements are available, but it's important to take them under the guidance of a healthcare professional.
Okay, we've covered fluoride for bone strength, copper for connective tissue health, and manganese for bone formation and recovery. What about iodine? I know it's important for thyroid function, but how does that relate to athletic performance?
You're right. Iodine is a crucial component of thyroid hormones, which regulate metabolism, growth, and development. And for athletes, iodine is particularly important for maintaining energy levels, supporting muscle recovery, and regulating body temperature.
So iodine helps keep our internal engine running smoothly.
Exactly. Iodine deficiency is relatively common, especially in areas where the soil is low in iodine. It can lead to hypothyroidism, which can cause fatigue, weight gain, muscle weakness, and intolerance to cold. For athletes, iodine deficiency can impair performance and recovery. Good sources of iodine include seafood, dairy products, and iodized salt. Seaweed is also a good source, especially kelp.
So adding a pinch of iodized salt to your meals or enjoying a seaweed salad a few times a week could be a simple way to boost your iodine intake.
Absolutely. And if you're concerned about your iodine intake, talk to your doctor about getting your thyroid levels checked. Iodine supplements are available, but it's important to take them under the guidance of a healthcare professional.
Okay, we're making our way through the list of trace minerals. What about molybdenum? What does this mineral do, and is it important for athletes?
Molybdenum is a trace mineral that's involved in a number of enzymatic reactions in the body. It's essential for the metabolism of sulfur-containing amino acids, which are important for building and repairing tissues. Molybdenum also plays a role in detoxifying certain compounds, including sulfites, which are found in some foods and beverages.
So molybdenum helps our bodies process protein and eliminate toxins.
Exactly. Molybdenum deficiency is rare, but it can lead to problems with sulfur metabolism and detoxification. Athletes who follow a restrictive diet or have a history of gastrointestinal issues might be at a higher risk of deficiency. Good sources of molybdenum include legumes, lentils, grains, nuts, and leafy green vegetables.
So a lentil soup with a side of kale could be a good way to get a molybdenum boost.
Absolutely. And if you're concerned about your molybdenum intake, talk to your doctor about getting your levels checked. Molybdenum supplements are available, but it's important to take them under the guidance of a healthcare professional.
All right, we've covered almost all of the trace minerals on our list. What about selenium? What does this mineral do, and why is it important for athletes?
Selenium is a fascinating trace mineral that's involved in a wide range of bodily functions, including antioxidant defense, thyroid hormone production, and immune function. It's a component of several enzymes that are essential for these processes. And for athletes, selenium is particularly important for protecting against oxidative stress, supporting thyroid health, and boosting immunity.
So selenium is another one of those minerals that's working behind the scenes to keep our bodies functioning optimally?
Exactly. Selenium deficiency is relatively rare in developed countries, but it can occur in people who follow a restricted diet or live in areas with low selenium content in the soil. Deficiency can lead to muscle weakness, fatigue, impaired immune function, and even an increased risk of certain cancers. Athletes who train intensely are at an increased risk of oxidative stress, which can damage cells and tissues. Selenium helps protect against this damage by neutralizing free radicals.
So selenium is like a shield, protecting our bodies from the damaging effects of intense training.
That's a great analogy. Good sources of selenium include Brazil nuts, seafood, meat, poultry, and whole grains. Just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day can provide your daily requirement of selenium.
Okay, so a handful of Brazil nuts could be a simple and delicious way to boost selenium levels.
Absolutely. And if you're concerned about your selenium intake, talk to your doctor about getting your levels checked. Selenium supplements are available, but it's important to take them under the guidance of a healthcare professional, as high doses can be toxic.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the essential roles of major minerals like calcium and sodium to the often overlooked but equally important trace minerals like molybdenum and selenium. It's amazing how these tiny nutrients can have such a profound impact on athletic performance and overall health. Before we wrap up part one of our deep dive into minerals in sports and performance nutrition, is there anything else about these minerals that you'd like to highlight for our listeners?
I think the most important thing to remember is that mineral needs can vary greatly from athlete to athlete.
Okay.
Factors like training volume and intensity, sweat rate, diet, and even genetics can all play a role.
Wow.
So, what works for one athlete might not work for another. The best approach is to pay attention to your body, experiment with different foods and supplements, and work with a qualified professional to create a personalized nutrition plan that meets your individual needs.
That's such great advice. It's all about listening to your body, experimenting, and finding what works best for you. Now, I'm excited to move on to part two of our deep dive, where we'll explore some of the lesser-known trace minerals and delve deeper into the fascinating world of mineral interactions and how they can impact athletic performance.
I'm looking forward to it. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of minerals and their impact on athletic performance. We've covered a lot of ground already, exploring the essential roles of major minerals like calcium, sodium, potassium, and highlighting some key trace minerals like iron, zinc, and chromium. Now, let's venture into the realm of some lesser-known trace minerals that are often overlooked but play fascinating roles in supporting athletic performance and overall health.
I'm ready to dive in. These trace minerals might not be as famous as their major counterparts, but they clearly hold a lot of power when it comes to our body's intricate workings.
Exactly. And sometimes it's those, less celebrated players that make a huge difference behind the scenes. So let's start with one that might surprise you. Fluoride. We typically associate it with dental health, but it's more than just about preventing cavities. Fluoride is a key player in strengthening bones and teeth, making them more resistant to fractures. And for athletes who are constantly pushing their limits, this can be a game changer.
That's interesting. So for athletes in high impact sports or activities where falls are common, like skiing or snowboarding, getting enough fluoride could be the difference between a minor setback and a major injury.
Precisely. Strong bones are the foundation for any athlete, and fluoride plays a significant role in building that resilience. While most people get enough fluoride through fluoridated water and toothpaste, athletes with increased needs due to intense training or a history of stress fractures might want to discuss a fluoride supplement with their doctor.
Okay, so fluoride. Definitely more than just a shiny smile. Now, what about copper? Where does this trace mineral fit into the athletic puzzle?
Copper is a multifaceted mineral involved in various processes like iron metabolism, energy production, collagen formation, and even antioxidant defense. But for athletes, its role in maintaining healthy connective tissues like tendons and ligaments stands out.
That makes sense. Tendons and ligaments are constantly being stressed during training, so copper seems crucial for keeping those tissues strong and resilient.
You got it. Copper deficiency is rare, but it can lead to fatigue, weakness, anemia, and even bone abnormalities. Athletes following restrictive diets or with a history of gastrointestinal issues might be more susceptible. Luckily, good sources of copper are readily available. Shellfish, organ meats like liver, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and even chocolate.
Hold on, did you say chocolate? Now we're talking. So enjoying some dark chocolate after a workout could actually be beneficial.
Absolutely. It's all about balance, right? And if you're concerned about your copper intake, talking to your doctor and getting your levels checked is always a good idea.
Great advice. Now let's move on to manganese. I'll admit this is one trace mineral I don't know much about.
Manganese is another unsung hero, but it's a vital player in processes crucial for athletes: bone formation, wound healing, carbohydrate metabolism, and antioxidant defense. Think of it as the mineral that helps your body build, repair, and protect itself, especially during intense training.
So if I'm picturing this correctly, manganese helps lay the groundwork for recovery and resilience, allowing athletes to bounce back stronger after pushing their limits.
Exactly. And while deficiency is rare, it can lead to impaired bone growth, delayed wound healing, and increased oxidative stress, none of which are idea for an athlete. Luckily, good sources of manganese are easy to incorporate into your diet: nuts, seeds, whole grains, leafy green vegetables, and even tea.
Okay, so a post-workout snack of almonds and a cup of green tea could be a great way to replenish manganese levels.
That's a great idea. And as always, if you have any concerns about your intake, talking to your doctor is the best way to go.
Now let's talk about iodine. We all know it's important for thyroid function, but how does that translate into athletic performance?
Iodine is essential for producing thyroid hormones, which control metabolism, growth, and development. For athletes, this translates to maintaining energy levels, supporting muscle recovery, and regulating body temperature, all crucial for optimal performance.
So iodine is like the conductor of our internal orchestra, keeping everything in sync and working harmoniously.
That's a fantastic way to put it. And iodine deficiency, which is more common than you might think, can lead to hypothyroidism, causing fatigue, weight gain, muscle weakness, and difficulty tolerating cold. Athletes with iodine deficiency might struggle with energy levels and recovery, but the good news is that incorporating iodine-rich foods like seafood, dairy products, iodized salt, and seaweed into your diet can make a significant difference.
So adding a dash of iodized salt to meals or enjoying a seaweed salad a few times a week could be simple yet effective strategies for ensuring sufficient iodine intake.
Absolutely. And if you have any concerns about your thyroid function or iodine levels, a quick chat with your doctor can provide peace of mind and guidance.
Okay, we're making good progress through our trace mineral exploration. What about molybdenum? Is this one that athletes need to pay attention to?
Molybdenum might not be a household name, but it plays a critical role in various enzymatic reactions, particularly in metabolizing sulfur-containing amino acids. These amino acids are the building blocks for tissues, making molybdenum essential for repair and recovery, especially for athletes.
So molybdenum is like the construction crew, ensuring our bodies have the materials needed to rebuild and strengthen after intense workouts.
Precisely. It also helps detoxify compounds like sulfites found in some foods and beverages, adding another layer of support for athletes. While deficiency is rare, it can disrupt sulfur metabolism and detoxification. Athletes on restrictive diets or with gastrointestinal issues might be more susceptible. But luckily, incorporating molybdenum-rich foods like legumes, lentils, grains, nuts, and leafy green vegetables into your diet can easily address this.
So a hearty lentil stew packed with veggies sounds like a great way to boost molybdenum levels.
Absolutely. And as always, if you have any concerns or questions about your intake, your doctor is your best resource.
All right, we've reached our final trace mineral on the list. Selenium. What makes this one special for athletes?
Selenium is a fascinating mineral that wears many hats, playing crucial roles in antioxidant defense, thyroid hormone production, and immune function. For athletes, its ability to protect against oxidative stress caused by intense training is particularly important.
So selenium is like a superhero, shielding our bodies from the damage caused by pushing our limits.
Exactly. Intense physical activity generates free radicals, which can damage cells and tissues. Selenium steps in as a powerful antioxidant, neutralizing these free radicals and protecting our bodies from their harmful effects.
That's incredible. So selenium is like a guardian angel, ensuring our bodies can withstand the stress of intense training.
Well said. Selenium also supports thyroid health, which as we discussed earlier, is crucial for regulating metabolism and energy levels, essential for optimal athletic performance. Additionally, selenium boosts the immune system, helping athletes stay healthy and recover faster.
Okay, I'm convinced. Selenium deserves a spot on the athlete's mineral all-star team. What are the best sources of this powerful mineral?
You can usually find selenium in Brazil, nuts, seafood, meat, poultry, and whole grains. And here's a fun fact: just one or two Brazil nuts a day can provide your entire daily requirement of selenium.
Wow, that's impressive. So a handful of Brazil nuts could be a simple yet powerful way to boost selenium levels.
Absolutely. And as with all minerals, balance is key. While selenium deficiency can have negative consequences, high doses can be toxic. It's always best to talk to your doctor before starting any supplements to ensure you're getting the right amount for your individual needs.
So we've journeyed through the world of both major and trace minerals, uncovering their hidden powers and understanding why they're essential for athletes. As we wrap up part two of our mineral deep dive, is there anything else you'd like to highlight before we move on to the final part?
I think it's crucial to emphasize that this is just the tip of the iceberg. The world of minerals is vast and complex with ongoing research, constantly uncovering new insights into their roles and interactions within our bodies.
That's exciting. So there's always more to learn and explore when it comes to these tiny but mighty nutrients.
Absolutely. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll delve into some of these fascinating interactions, exploring how minerals work together to optimize athletic performance. Get ready for a deeper understanding of how to fuel your body for peak performance through the power of minerals.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the world of minerals in sports and performance nutrition.
It's amazing how much we've covered about these often overlooked nutrients.
I know, right? We've gone from the building blocks of strong bones to the unsung heroes of hydration and even explored the fascinating roles of trace minerals.
And we've learned that these minerals aren't just working solo, they're constantly interacting, influencing each other's absorption, utilization, and overall impact on our bodies.
Exactly. It's like a complex symphony happening within us, and each mineral plays a specific note to create the harmony of optimal health and performance.
That's a great analogy. So for this final part, let's delve into those interactions and uncover some key strategies for optimizing mineral balance for athletes.
Sounds good. I'm ready to unlock the secrets of mineral synergy.
Well, one of the most well-known mineral duos is calcium and phosphorus.
Ah, the dynamic duo of bone health. We talked about their individual roles in part one, but how do they interact with each other?
They have a very delicate balancing act. They work together to build and maintain bone density, but their ratio in the body matters.
Okay, so it's not just about getting enough of each mineral, it's about getting them in the right proportions.
Exactly. A diet too high in phosphorus and too low in calcium can actually lead to bone loss over time.
That's interesting. So even if you're taking calcium supplements, if your diet is overloaded with phosphorus, you might not be doing your bones any favors.
That's right. And this is particularly important for athletes who often consume sports drinks and processed foods, which tend to be high in phosphorus.
So it's all about balance. What's the ideal calcium to phosphorus ratio for athletes?
There's no magic number, but aiming for a ratio closer to 1.1 is a good starting point.
Okay, so a diet rich in calcium-rich foods like dairy products and leafy greens, balanced with moderate phosphorus intake from sources like meat and grains is key.
Exactly. Now another interesting mineral interplay happens between sodium and potassium.
Ah, yes, the electrolytes that keep us hydrated and our muscles firing. How do they interact?
They work together to regulate fluid balance and nerve transmission, but they have opposite effects on blood pressure. Sodium can increase blood pressure while potassium can lower it.
So it's like a seesaw. Too much sodium on one side can tip the balance and lead to high blood pressure, while potassium on the other side helps bring things back into equilibrium.
Exactly. And this is crucial for athletes as maintaining healthy blood pressure is essential for cardiovascular health and optimal performance.
So what's the best way to balance sodium and potassium intake?
Focus on consuming a diet rich in potassium-rich foods like fruits, vegetables, and legumes, while moderating sodium intake from processed foods and added salt.
Okay, so a plate with plenty of colorful veggies, a lean protein source, and a side of fruit would be a great way to support this balance.
Absolutely. Now, another fascinating interplay happens between iron and copper.
We talked about iron's role in oxygen transport, and copper seems to be involved in a variety of processes. But how do they work together?
Copper is essential for iron absorption and utilization. Without enough copper, iron can't be properly incorporated into hemoglobin, leading to iron deficiency anemia.
So even if you're consuming plenty of iron-rich foods, a copper deficiency could prevent your body from using that iron effectively.
Exactly. This is especially important for athletes who have increased iron needs due to intense training or menstruation.
What are some signs that an athlete might be deficient in either iron or copper?
Fatigue, weakness, shortness of breath, pale skin, and difficulty concentrating can be signs of iron deficiency. Copper deficiency can manifest as fatigue, weakness, pale skin, frequent infections, and even neurological problems.
So if an athlete is experiencing any of these symptoms, it's important to talk to their doctor and get their iron and copper levels checked.
Absolutely. Now, let's move on to another mineral interaction that's particularly relevant for athletes. Zinc and magnesium.
We know zinc is important for immunity and recovery, and magnesium supports muscle function and relaxation. How do they work together?
They both play a role in protein synthesis and muscle growth. Zinc is involved in DNA and RNA synthesis, which are essential for cell growth and repair. Magnesium helps activate enzymes involved in protein synthesis.
So it's like they're both part of the muscle building team, each contributing their unique skills to the process.
Exactly. And they also have a synergistic effect on sleep, which is crucial for muscle recovery and overall well-being.
Okay, so a zinc and magnesium-rich diet could be a recipe for better sleep and faster recovery.
Absolutely. Foods like pumpkin seeds, spinach, and cashews are great sources of both zinc and magnesium.
Now, we've talked about mineral duos, but are there any examples of mineral trios that work together?
Absolutely. Calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D form a powerful trio for bone health.
We haven't talked much about vitamin D. Why is it important for bone health?
Vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium from the gut, making it essential for building and maintaining bone density.
So it's like vitamin D is the key that unlocks the door for calcium to enter our bones.
That's a great way to put it. And magnesium is also involved in converting vitamin D into its active form, making it even more important for calcium absorption.
Wow. So these three nutrients really work together to create a symphony of bone health.
Exactly. And this is particularly important for athletes who are at an increased risk of stress fractures due to the high impact and repetitive forces they place on their bones.
So what are some ways athletes can ensure they're getting enough calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D?
Consuming a diet rich in dairy products, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish like salmon is a great starting point.
Okay, so a breakfast of yogurt with berries and almonds, followed by a salmon salad for lunch, could be a delicious way to support bone health.
Absolutely. And spending some time outdoors in the sunshine can boost vitamin D production naturally.
So it's not just about what we eat, but also about our lifestyle choices.
Exactly. Now, as we wrap up our deep dive into minerals and sports and performance nutrition, I want to emphasize that this is just a glimpse into the fascinating world of these essential nutrients.
I know, right? It's amazing how much we've learned about the roles these tiny but mighty molecules play in supporting athletic performance and overall health.
And the key takeaway I want to leave our listeners with is that individual needs can vary greatly.
That's right. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to mineral intake.
Exactly. Factors like training volume, sweat rate, diet, genetics, and overall health status can all influence your mineral needs.
So what's the best way for athletes to determine their individual mineral needs and create a personalized nutrition plan?
Working with a a qualified professional like a registered dietitian or a sports nutritionist is the best way to get personalized guidance. They can assess your individual needs, analyze your diet, and make recommendations for optimizing your mineral intake through food and supplements.
That's great advice. It's all about seeking expert guidance and creating a plan that works best for you.
Exactly. Remember, nutrition is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuous learning, experimenting, and fine-tuning your approach to support your athletic goals and overall well-being.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of minerals in sports and performance nutrition.
It's been a pleasure sharing this journey with you. Remember, knowledge is power, and by understanding the vital roles these minerals play, you can fuel your body for peak performance and unlock your full athletic potential.
And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We hope you've learned something new and feel inspired to optimize your mineral intake for a healthier, stronger, and more resilient you.
Stay tuned for our next deep dive, where we'll explore another fascinating aspect of sports and performance nutrition.
Until then, keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep striving for your best self.